Hello, this video is what I think about George Kavissalas' claim that and he says the aliens told him because he's a alien contactee. He says from like all the aliens, like he's Mr. like go get him. He's like best friends with all the aliens, and they take him up all the time. And somebody wrote on my page today, like, what do you think about this one George Kavissalas thing that George says where um, um, he says that between the spring solstice. No. Between the shortest day of the year, December 21st of December of 2012, until March 1st, which is the solstice, the spring solstice of 2013, for 3 months, the Earth is going to basically have the ascension, is going to descend into the fourth dimension in between those dates. Well, actually, that's what the person who wrote on my page. Now, if I recall correctly, what he actually said was that the Earth, the Earth is going to ascend on March 1st, but starting on December 21st, the Earth is going to rectify the wobble. The Earth it's called precession. The Earth spins around, but it wobbles, kind of like how when you spin a top, and then when the top slows down, it starts to wobble, and that's where the ice ages come from. When the wobble is facing away from the sun, right? Then that means the northern hemisphere is away from the sun, and most of the land mass is in the northern hemisphere, and snow sticks to solid land a lot easier than it does to seawater, because seawater has so much salt in it that it freezes at a very low temperature. So once snow falls and it's cold enough, because the wobble is far away, the snow can actually stick, and then snow, like when you watch the first snowstorm, of like October 31st every year, the snow can fall for like hours, and it's like dumping, and the snow just like gets melted as soon as it hits the ground. But as soon as the snow sticks, because the ground gets cold, boom, the snow just grows up, and then every time after that, that's how ice ages happen. The snow can grow on other snow, so it's cold enough. The Earth math is cold enough that the snow falls, and then the snow just grows off each other, and it just fucking grows like a cancer all the way down to a third of the way down, the United States of America, and you have glaciers, which created the Great Lakes, and we had like mastodons and shit walking around in the lower 48s, and saber-toothed tigers and all this stuff, and that's, and we had that up until 12,000 years ago, a great ice age. And so for the last, because the precession is timed the same as the revolutions that our planet goes around, or our solar system revolves around the galaxy, because the galaxy spins, and we go around every 26,352 years or something like that, or 26,530 years, 580 years or something. And the precession is like that. So the precession spin is like in lockstep with the center of the galaxy somehow. Now, I thought maybe the wobble came from some like planet or something that came by and knocked it out of tilt, or maybe it's kind of magnetically aligned with the center of the galaxy. I don't know, but that's how. So for the last 12,000 years, we've been not in an ice age, and our tilt, the top of the Earth has been facing towards the sun, but now it's going to start to be facing away from the sun again. So theoretically, we're heading towards another ice age, which is going to be knocked. It's going to be neutralized by global warming and the heating of the Earth, from the ascension passing through the photon belt. But once we pass out of the photon belt, once we pass out of the ecliptic of the galaxy, we're going to be, our North Pole is going to be heading farther and farther away from the sun. So we are, the heating of the sun is going to slow down. But, if we ascend, then we're going to stay ascended, and the rules are going to be totally different, according to, what the aliens say, I mean, it's crazy to wrap your head around. It's like, what? It's like, I really am curious to see what happens, because if it doesn't turn out to be like that, and like, traditional modern science ends up saying that whatever we predict, then we are going to head into an ice age. But then again, our technology and all of the carbon man-made greenhouse effect will definitely probably neutralize the ice age. But anyways, what he says is that between December 21st, 2012 and March 1st, 2013, the Earth is going to rectify the wobble. She ain't going to wobble no more. It's going to be like, and supposedly where time is speeding up, we can feel it. We can all feel it in our heads. The watches don't detect it, but I mean, I guess because watches are in lockstep with the time that's speeding up. So it's speeding up with time. And so that's why the watches don't detect it. But time actually is speeding up. And our biology isn't speeding up, which means that we're going to live twice as long. We're not going to get old. And, if you look at athletes, you got 55. The woman who got 5th place, it's crazy. I was looking at bike results the other day, I think looking for like times, how fast people can do stuff. But the chick who got 5th place in the World Cycling Time Trial Championships is like 56 years old. This year. Crazy. People like old ass motherfuckers are kicking ass. Because you're just not. I remember in the 80s, like when you were 30, you were done. Like you were over the hill. Like if you're an athlete, cycling. But now it ain't like that. You're 50 and you're still going. So. But anyways, yeah. So time is speeding up and stuff. But he says that, yeah. So between December 21st and March 1st. The Earth is going to, within those three months, rectify the wobble, and once the wobble is rectified, the Earth ascends. The Earth turns into a star. The Earth starts to create its own light. Now that is like way, I mean, because he described what heaven is like, and other people have described what heaven is like, basically what the 5th dimension is like. And, and also like when you're inside of a flying saucer, it's like that. Maybe because you are in the 5th dimension, but light just exists. You don't have a sun out there shining light upon you or a light shining upon you. You don't know where it comes from, but everything's got enough light you can see. Light just exists. And that's what it's like. And I think that's what he says it's like in the higher dimensions. So, and it makes sense to me that it would be like that. So he says the Earth is going to turn into a star. So like, what does that mean? When you're in the 4th dimension, the Earth is going to have its own light and you're not going to need the sun. And I don't know. I mean, I really can't answer that, but that's the 4th dimension that we're moving into. We're not moving into the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension is where you can have your own light. That's the light that Bashar, but I mean, I'm not so sure, but I think, Bashar, those guys, they're not so far from where we are. And he said that they're ascending right now, along with us. We're ascending to the 4th dimension, and they're ascending to a higher dimension. So I think maybe they're ascending to the 5th, from the 4th to the 5th, or maybe it's from the 5th to the 6th. Maybe that's what it is, the 5th to the 6th. Because if it's from the 4th to the 5th, that means the dimension they're in now is the dimension we're going to be in. Which means we're going to be, I don't know, man. But the thing is that it's really hard for me to wrap my mind around it because it's just, I mean, as far as the Earth turning into a star and having its own light, I don't know. Basically what I mean, a lot of like alien contactees and psychics and stuff, they're always giving predictions that don't turn out to be true. I mean, even people who are like really popular these days, I could have sworn like David Wilcock said that he heard from like a whistleblower person that like last October of 2009 there was going to be fucking full disclosure. Somebody said that, one of those like people, and it's like, I didn't believe it. That's way too soon. But full disclosure next year and such. So it's like now people are saying, I mean, this is like 2 years from now. March 1st, we're gonna ascend. Well, yeah, I think we are gonna ascend. Now, but what I believe in my head is that we are going to ascend, and what it's going to feel like for us is on say March 1st after we ascend. It's all happening really, really, really slowly, though. I mean, you have the tsunami back in 2006. You have the Haiti earthquake last year. You know, they're spaced out like 3 years, these cataclysms, you know. So it's kind of like you don't really feel it. And yeah, so I think, you know, come March 1st of 2013, we're not going to feel anything sudden. The main change, now this doesn't have to do with what George Kavissalas says, but December 21st, according to Bashar, is the date that the aliens have set forth. It's like an artificial date. It's not like a scientific thing, but it's the date that the aliens have just designated, is when they're going to turn off the force field around the Earth and allow aliens to fly and land here if they want. So basically what that tells me is, see, evil aliens are always trying to slip through, and they always do slip through every once in a while and like wreak havoc and stuff. So how I interpret that is, once that comes, we're going to start having lots of sightings, and it's going to be sightings of, you know, a lot of like conspiracy theorists and type are like, you know, and I think it was George Kavissalas says, you know, don't get in the first ships that come, man, because they're the evil ships. They're the evil ships. So maybe it's true, you know, the first ships that come, once they turn that off on December 21st, we're going to see all these sightings. And it's going to be like the bad ships. And, you know, they're going to be able to fly here and whatever and show themselves to us, but they're not going to be allowed to, you know, violate our free will. Or else they're going to get blasted by the good aliens. So, yeah, maybe those guys are going to land and they're going to be like, yeah, we're the good aliens. We're the good aliens. Now you listen to up. You listen up and you listen up good. We're the good aliens. And what you're going to do is you're going to, you know, and if they have like a bad vibe, like a manipulative vibe, you know, and we all know what the manipulative like vibe is, you know, people who fear-based type of a thing, you know, like, you know, those guys are bad. Like don't look at those other aliens, you know. So it's like, just hang out, look at the sightings, you know, watch them on YouTube, and if you see something, take a picture of it. And even if like aliens land, you know, which is like something that I can barely even comprehend. And they're like, yeah, man, get in our ship, dude. We're going to fucking take you fried. Come on. Get in the ship. Come on, get in the ship. You know, or they're like, teach you some lesson like, oh yes, we're all love and it's all true or whatever, we love you and everything, but just don't listen to those guys. You know, I'm going to be like, okay, fuck these guys. And I'm going to hang out and I'm going to be like, yeah, that's cool. And then, but whatever, you know, I'm not getting in your ship. and then you wait like a few months and then, you know, do a meditation one day. Oh, I wish to see aliens. And then you see something in the sky and, oh, come and land. My heart is open. And then they land and they come out and they're like, hey. And they're like the hippie aliens. Hey, man, what's up? And you're like, yeah, cool. Wow, alien. And then you're like, and then they're like, yeah. And you're like, well, can I have a ride? And they're like, only if you want, or something like that. Then I'll ride with them. But it's just definitely something worth thinking about. I mean, because the whole reason, you know, evil aliens can't come here because the thing's turned off. But if they're going to turn it on, and I fucking love Bashar, so I believe everything he says. And he says they're going to turn it off on December 21st. So maybe like the good aliens are just going to manually, this is what I think, the good aliens are going to manually, instead of automatically with the force field, they're going to manually, you know, zap the bad aliens and not let the bad aliens come in and just watch over us. But, you know, a lot more bad aliens are going to be able to land and stuff. So, but as far, you know, so just, you know, be patient and just follow your heart. But as far as like experiencing the whole ascension thing, I think it's going to be it's going to be the same as now, only we're just going to be more motivated and more creative and more intelligent and just more like energized, you know, and, you know, basically have to eat less food to have energy and, you know, be more telepathic. But it's going to be very gradual, you know, even after March 1st of 2012, 13. It's going to be gradual, and we're going to be excited and happy, and more people are going to believe in aliens and see stuff. And yeah, stuff could just blow up. But, and you know, stuff does blow up fucking quick. If you look in the history, you know, cell phones, the internet and all this stuff. I mean, it's like really exciting, and it's just going to continue, man. So I'm excited about it, but I hope that helps. Yeah.